Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about the origin of the name for Troika Games. I thought I had talked about this before, but I guess I haven't, and I've had people ask as recently as doing yesterday's video on what I would have speculated would have happened if Troika Games had still been around for Kickstarter. Theo Roderick 782 asked, what was the origin of Troika's name? Okay, I'll go through what exactly where it came from and why we used it and why we liked it, and also dispel the a common explanation I hear that's completely wrong. So, the word troika is Russian. It means a carriage drawn by three horses who are abreast. So none of those horses are the lead horse. Here's a picture off a chocolate box. It's got two troika carriages on it. This box of chocolate was given to me by my friends Larry and Maria. It was a delicious box of Russian chocolate. If you go to my chocolate blog, and I'll put a link below, you can see all the chocolates that I had between the early 90s until about a couple years ago. I used to, if ever I had a chocolate that was new, I put the label, a picture of the label, and a description of how I liked it in this blog that I've been maintaining, for, yikes, 30 years? Fun fact, if you do go to the blog, there's a search bar at the top, and if you type in Troika, you will not only get that Russian box cover, but you'll also get a chocolate bar named Troika. That was one of the worst chocolate bars I'd ever eaten in my life. So have fun with that. Now, despite Troika being a Russian word, that has nothing to do with why we picked it. I think Leonard has Russian heritage. I'm pretty sure. It might be Polish. I'm pretty sure it's Russian, though. However, when we were at Interplay working on Fallout, Leonard Boyarsky, Jason Anderson, and I worked really tightly together. We worked on a lot of stuff. You know, Leonard was he would be called the art director today. And he came up with a lot of the look of the art. Jason was really good at the technical aspects, figuring out how to make the art work in the engine that we created. And it was frustrating because, back then, a lot of 3D art looked shiny. It was easy to do shiny plastic and metal. As he put it was really hard to do dirt and dust and rust. And also, my engine required things to be done in a certain way isometrically, and he figured a great way of getting that out of our 3D rendering packages. Anyway, I would frequently bring both of them along whenever I had to do anything as a producer that involved anything even remotely having to do with Fallout's art. So if I had to, for example, go approve the box cover, which, they actually made. But I had to put my signature on the box cover final art. This was going off to the printer. I'd bring Leonard and Jason along. If an ad was put together by an internal or external marketing department, and I was to sign off on it before it went to the magazine it was going to be done in. Thanks, Windows. I don't know what this wants to do. I would bring them along. I also brought them for the manual layout because our manual was full of art. And I wanted to make sure that everything was laid out correctly. I wanted to make sure that it was at the correct, because it was black and white, it was the correct aspect ratio and everything. But especially for the box cover and ad, since I couldn't see color, since I'm colorblind, I needed to bring on another set of eyes with me. Interesting. Someone at Interplay, you started referring to Leonard and Jason and I as the Troika. It's the first time I had ever heard that word. I thought it was perestroika, and I had to get a correction. He said, no, Troika. Because you three are always together. You three are always doing things. And I'm like, I didn't understand at first what was going on there. And I realized that there weren't a whole lot of really tight professional groups. There were people who were at Troika who were friends and did things together. But I'm trying to think if there was any other kind of like pairing or triple or something, like a small, really tight, integrated group doing professional work. And if there is, I don't remember it. So I think that kind of made people go, why are they always working together? And it's because we complemented each other. Having art, program, design, all represented in different ways in the three of us just worked really well together. So that was the first time we were called the Troika. And we thought it was funny, and we remembered it. Later, after I quit, and then Leonard and Jason quit soon thereafter, we were originally just going to look around for jobs, and we were tossing around the idea of, well, what if we made a game ourselves? What would we make? That was when the Arcanum idea came up, and we kind of went with it. Let's see what we can do with it over a few months. We decided, well, we need a company to make this. And we were trying to come up with a company idea, and we finally, settled on making a small one, an LLC, which is a limited liability company. It's sort of like a corporation, but not quite. And we were trying to think of company names. Here's where my notes break down. I know that we had a lot of discussion about different names to use, and I cannot find a single note on that. I know there were a ton. I know there were different ideas for the name. I know once we picked the name, there were ideas for logos, and I cannot find any of those. But when we were coming up with company names, I remember somebody just jokingly went, we could just call ourselves Troika, referring to us being called that way back at Interplay. But then we were like, wait a minute. That's a great way of promoting our idea that at Troika, we weren't going to push one discipline over the other. We weren't going to be design forward. We weren't going to be code forward. We weren't going to be art forward. We really felt that to make a good game, all those things have to be done together. They have to be kind of synchronized. So you're not making an art style that's inappropriate for the setting you just made. And you're not making mechanics that don't work with the art style you just picked. So we always talked about that kind of, that came naturally to us when we talked. But once we realized that the definition of Troika was 3 horses abreast with none in the lead, we're like, that's perfect. Troika for us means art, code, and design, all on an equal footing, all contributing equally to the game, and none of them are considered the most important. They're all equally important to get that carriage where it wants to be. So we went with that. Yes, we got pushback from people. Somebody who, when we made our company very egalitarian, see Troika's flat hierarchy experiment. I'll link that below as well. When we said we're going to pay everybody the same and give everyone a royalty, an equal chunk of royalty, somebody went, and you're naming your company Troika, are you a bunch of communists? And it honestly didn't occur to us that's what was happening. We were just saying, we just want to be fair. We want to be fair on how we treat people, and we wanted to be fair on how we did design of a game and code and art for a game. So that's pretty much the origin of the name Troika. Yes, it's Russian. No, it has nothing to do with Russia and had nothing to do with communism. It basically was a funny nickname that we realized represented our idea of not ever promoting code, design, or art over the other two. So I hope you liked that answer. Theo Roderick, 782.